What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Talk Punch. Thanks so much for joining us. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening in on the audio version at TalkTalkPunch.com or wherever you get your podcasts, please consider subscribing. Make sure you come back here every Wednesday at noon to see what we're talking about. Kind of like this week's topic, we are doing something a little bit different. Charlie, we're kind of going down the Charlie wheelhouse here. We are listing our top 10 favorite bands of all time. I am Brody Hanson, joined by Charlie Hickman. Charlie, how's it going? Are you excited about this?
I am very excited about this. I've been wanting to talk music on this for a long time. I am glad we are finally doing it. Hope it is not the last time. I'm even wearing, this is an old t-shirt from my band. And this young gentleman here without a beard is actually Brody Hanson. He modeled for our album cover and was featured on there. We had a song about the glory of the mustache, and at the time, he had a beautiful mustache. He still does. He's just hiding it underneath.
It's just connected. It's just connected. It was kind of like that.
Kind of like that.
Yep.
Oh, bro, I'm really excited, and I'm gonna out myself on some some embarrassing things, and let's just get the ball rolling.
Okay.
When I was a kid, and I'm going to date myself here quite a bit. There were two main ways that I could discover new music, and one of them was like MTV, right? MTV VH1, watching music videos. And there was a song called Please Don't Go by KWS.
Yep.
And this was the first CD that I ever purchased for myself. Went down to the Tower Records, hooked myself up with the Please Don't Go, the Please Don't Go, Please Don't Go. And I think he says please don't go in the song like 45 different times.
Oh my goodness!
It would have been a fun drinking game had I not been so young. It would have been smashed. But it was like this really, my apologies to KWS if you're watching this, but not a great song, and kind of
really popular though.
That's okay.
It was a really popular song.
It was a bop. And this predates like that first album purchase predates kind of my my actual playing of musical instruments, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through the list. And that definitely kind of changed my musical kind of spectrum. I liked a lot of like escapist music when I was a young kid in the elementary schools. My older sister was super into like Ozzy Osbourne, and my first day of 5th grade, I wore a 3 sizes too large Ozzy Osbourne t-shirt to school. Because she made me do it. She's like, you can't listen. You got to go to school looking cool. You got to. She made me do it. She took a rock and she cut holes in my jeans. Like she wore them because you couldn't use scissors because
it's too straight.
It would look like you cut the hole.
Yeah.
So she used like an actual stone and just kind of worked the holes in the pants. I looked so dumb in my like 3 sizes too big. Bright white Ozzy Osbourne t-shirt. I wish I had a picture of it. I put it up behind me right now. So my musical tastes in elementary school were all over the place, from Ozzy to KWS, and more treats in the way. What about you, bro? What was the first CD you ever bought?
The first CD I ever bought was the Jurassic Park soundtrack. I'm such a nerd. Such a nerd. So yeah, I mean, it's a great soundtrack, man. It's good John Williams.
Man, yours is better than mine. That's fair. It's fair.
Oh man, I would just sit there and just listen to John Williams. And coming off Star Wars and stuff like that, I was already a big fan, and so early 90s when Jurassic Park came out, and it was the CDs were still pretty new. Yeah, man, it was a big deal. That was like my CD.
Yeah,
it wasn't anybody else's. It was mine. So, yeah. So that's John Williams.
There we go. Can't go wrong. All right. Well, should we dive into these lists? I have no idea what your list is going to be like. I have just no idea.
So my list, as I'm putting this together, it's all over the place, Charlie. I believe it. It is all over the place. I'm really confident about probably the top 5 or so. I think there's more in the bottom half that are more along the lines of like at some point in my life, these were some of my favorite bands, you know, and there's songs that I feel like I can go back to and enjoy, but I'm not necessarily like, okay, put on their entire, you know, discography. What's the word? Whatever.
Discography.
Discography. Is it really?
Yeah.
And you know, so I'm not gonna like listen to like hours in every single album that comes out of theirs, but enjoy, you know, the songs here and there. I like when we did this, I was like, okay, I know my top 3, and my top 1 and 2 could like flip back and forth like any day of the week. I'm sure all of these would kind of move all around the list at varying times, and the top 5 may not be on my list tomorrow, but this is what it is today.
Recorded for posterity. All right, so methodology, and allow me to just give me a little bit of leeway here as I kind of overthink things. But if we think of music today as like food.
Sure.
Okay. Everyone has their favorite restaurants that they like to go to, and everyone has their favorite food they like to make at home. Now we have comfort food, you know, food that we know isn't necessarily great food, that we don't expect other people to like, but we grew up with it and it makes us feel good. There's music like that. There's music with bands, songs that just kind of, it's like a time capsule or a time machine, and we listen to it. And it's like it warms us up. It makes us feel good. Doesn't necessarily mean that we think it's a great song or great band, but it's a comfort food is what it is. There's fast food. You know, like just give me something. I want a dancey beat. I want something I can jam to. I want something that's just, I don't care about the band. Just give me a song. Just give me something like that has more atmosphere for what I'm trying to do. We get like a restaurant like Chipotle where they serve one food item. If you don't like burritos, you're going to the wrong place if you go to Chipotle. You have bands like Chainsmokers that have one song over and over again. So you better like that one song if you're going to listen to the Chainsmokers. No. We got really fancy upscale restaurants. We've got, we got atmospheric or experience, like where it's like the totality of the album is meant to be listened from start to finish and enjoyed that way, like an ambiance at a nice restaurant with a great appetizer, a great main course, dessert. You know, that you're meant to just, it's the overall experience, not like one highlight, but the overall experience that matters. There's music that's just atmosphere. I just want to go to a restaurant that has like noise and great, you know, great atmosphere, great vibe. I just want something to dance to. So anyway, it goes on and on. But you're going to hear me reference this kind of analogy as we go through this, because I do think that there's something to this idea of like music doesn't date itself the way that movies do. When we talk about our favorite movies, certainly like there are things that just kind of are dated and you can't get around it. You look at something from the 80s and you're like, whew, all right, well, you know, I still love it, but and music doesn't age that way. You know, you can pop on, you know, music from the 70s, 80s, 90s, early, much earlier, and it's still going to have, in some cases, even better sound quality than some of the stuff that we hear today. So it was a really hard list for me. And I'm going to do my best. This will be the longest I talk all night. I'm going to do my best to keep my stuff short and not bore you guys too much. Most of the bands are, you know, we're not talking big new revelations for most people anyway. So, shall we dive in, bro?
Let's do it.
Let's feast. Let us feast tonight on music.
All right, top 10. Okay, so we're starting off with me. I know my top 10. I know my number 10.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because I just finished this list today, and I was like, I guess I'll put them on there. So that's
all right. Get to it.
That's Saliva. So Saliva in the early 2000s, I was a big Saliva fan. Okay,
yeah, you were.
They had some really good albums. You know, there's some really good songs, like. Pieces, I think, was one of their songs that's one of the songs that I feel like I can go back to even today and listen to, and I'm like, that's a really good song. You know, they were doing like, they did some themes for wrestlers, you know, yeah. And so it was always exciting when I'm watching wrestling and then all of a sudden like Saliva hits and I'm like, oh yes. Yeah. You know, you know, Josie Scott back then was the lead singer. He's since moved on, and they have a new guy. I think I started to listen to one like somewhat recently. It was kind of like, Like, I don't know. And, you know, whether it's just not there for me anymore, whether I enjoyed Josie Scott's voice more. I don't know. But I really liked Saliva back in the day. Back in, you know, 02, 03, 04, 05 maybe.
The aughts.
Yeah.
This is such a perfect band for you because for those of you who don't know, Brody can take his saliva and dangle it like 6 feet to the ground and then slurp it back up without losing the stream. Can you demo that for the people right now, or do you need a specific beverage? Come on, man. Let the people want to see saliva.
No,
give them what they want.
Here's the thing with that trick, right? Is my kids now do it, and it's gross. And
come on, give them a taste.
And
They're gonna think I'm lying.
Like, no, I can't. I don't have the right drink to start up. I think I used to do it with soda because there was like so much sugar. It was just really like sticky spit. You can't do it.
All right,
can't do it. Sorry.
Maybe in the comments below, let's all encourage Brody to what's your favorite, like, sack up? What do they used to say back in the O2s? Let's go, bro. Make it happen on a future one of these episodes.
It's gross. Nobody wants to see that, Charlie.
Everyone wants to see that.
All right, so there's my number 10, Saliva.
Saliva.
Okay, Charlie, you're number 10.
My number 10. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many of my bands you've heard of, bro. But definitely, I'm guessing you haven't gotten into Royal Blood yet.
Never heard of them.
Okay, all right. Well, look, Royal Blood just came out with their third album, and that was an important bit of criteria for me. All the bands on my list have at least 3 albums under their belt. I like a variety. I like some options. And it's good. The new album Typhoons is I'm still kind of working my way through it. I'm enjoying it. We get Royal Blood is a unique band. It's a 2-piece, and it's basically done with a bass that's split, and then there's an octave pedal. I don't want to get too technical here, but he plays bass with thinner strings. And then he just plays the riff and splits the signal, and then uses some pedals to make one sound like a guitar and then one sound like a bass guitar. So it sounds really full and thick. It's a really interesting, unique way to approach music. It's got kind of a Muse vibe in some ways. Especially the new album has like some a little bit more keyboard in it, whereas some of the other ones just real raw. And since it's just the two of them, I mean, it's got a lot of open space, really like good hooks on both the instrument and in terms of the chorus. Really good energy in the band. If you have never heard them, I do recommend checking them out. Obviously, they made it on my list, and this is a band that I could definitely see rising up higher if they continue to put music out at the quality and level that they're doing it now. But really fun. Look, I'm a bass guy, and this is going to be a theme throughout my list. Bass was my first love, my first instrument. Interesting things done on the bass guitar always get bonus points for me when I'm listening to music. And so, Royal Blood, check them out.
I'll have to check those out. Cool.
Do that.
Never heard of them. All right. Number 9. I think I know my number 9. Yeah. Now I meant to have.
You are all over the place.
I meant to have a little clip from American Psycho where he says, "Do you like Phil Collins?" and then I forgot. And I just remember right now. Now Phil Collins. Now, fun fact about this album in particular, my parents had this record when I was a kid, and I used to love looking through the records. You go through all of them, and this one always really scared me.
Well, yeah,
I was like,
terrifying.
Why is his face all bloody? He's got like sweat, looks like all red. But Phil Collins, I love Phil Collins. Phil Collins is great. Whether he's doing the solo stuff like Susudio or In the Air Tonight. Or whether it's the Genesis stuff, that was great. Or whether he's doing, solo stuff like Tarzan. Like, Phil Collins is great, man. He's someone that I feel like I can put on, and I could just have, like, his discography. I can read that word just fine, but when I actually say it, it sounds really weird, and I feel like I'm saying it wrong.
You're nailing it, but you're doing so good. I'm so proud of you.
I read it all the time, and then I say it. I don't think I've ever said it out loud. I think it's the thing is I've just read it. Discography.
Now you're just showing up.
He's got a great one. So this is one that I also love 80s music. Okay. And I struggle. I was like, what 80s stuff do I put on my list? Because there's so many, but do I put Kenny Loggins? Do I put Mr. Do I put, Duran Duran or something like that? And I was kind of like, I don't know. And I kind of landed on Phil Collins as somebody. What?
Did you put Mr. on your list?
No, but I thought about it.
Okay.
I thought about it. They're not somebody that I constantly go back to. It's a lot of
no judgments tonight. No judgments.
A lot of those are great.
I just didn't realize you were a fan. That's all.
Oh, Mr.'s great. A lot of those types of 80s music have like a couple really good songs and are great for like a playlist where I can just listen to like an 80s playlist and just kind of get the hits. I don't need to listen to the full CD. But Phil Collins just has great albums like up and down. Wherever he was in his career, he was putting out great stuff. So I really, really enjoy Phil Collins. My number 9.
I'll try not to get too many like little asides, but the thing you're describing is one of the big differences in the way that the music industry now earns money, right? Back in the day, you only needed a single, a hit.
Sure.
And then people had to buy the whole album. And nowadays, it's a la carte. So every song on the disc better be good. Otherwise, you're limiting your earning potential.
Yeah.
Because the people are only buying, one song instead of the full, the full freight, the full album. You're just not going to make as much. So artists are now incentivized to create a better and more even top to bottom record, which is great because we're getting, in my opinion, better like even balanced pieces of music than we were when I was a kid and stuff. And you'd hear a great song on the radio or whatever, and then you buy the album, and the rest of it's just like what is happening?
You were rushed, weren't you?
Yeah, it's like all right, I like this song, Take on Me, but what's happening with the rest of this material? All right, so my number 9 is a band that you have definitely heard of, Counting Crows.
Right? I have heard of Counting Crows. Yeah.
All right. This record is, if we were just doing a singular album, this would be much higher up the list. This is one of my favorite all-time records. August and everything after this. That's when I'm saying this behind me is from that particular, their first CD, their debut CD. It was so good, and I was a young man, and I remember going to the CD listening bar.
And that's right, the CD listening bar,
which I believe was later shut down for selling drugs, but that's a whole nother.
Well, that was always the rumor, wasn't it? It was like,
I forgot. And Phil Collins, speaking of rumors, like he watched that guy die during The Air Tonight. He's one of the great urban legends. I mean, it's not true, but look up In the Air Tonight, Phil Collins, urban legend.
Interesting.
If you've never heard it, Brody, look it up. It's funny, I guess, in a weird, dark way. But anyway, this CD changed my life in a small way. It was just something that I heard and instantly just fell in love with. The popular track on this album, Mr. Jones, was like the huge hit that kind of propelled them forward. Around here, it got a lot of radio play. But from top to bottom, this is an album. I'll listen to the whole thing. Raining in Baltimore and Sullivan Street and Perfect Blue Buildings, Omaha. Shout out to my relatives in Omaha. It's your song. But it's a great album top to bottom, and Long December and a bunch of other songs that came in later albums are things that I still listen to in rotation. It's a band that I enjoy quite a bit, and I'm not going to bore you guys talking about Counting Crows. You know who they are. If you've never heard of them, what are you doing? Go check them out. I think probably within the next 5 years they'll be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Keep an eye out.
There you go.
Counting Crows. Count them up.
There you go. All right, number 8. Smashing Pumpkins. This is another one.
Ooh,
this was probably around. This is around the same time as your Counting Crows album there. Now, like middle school, high school, loved Smashing Pumpkins. This is a really old picture of them because Billy Corgan has hair, but I, it was the Bullet with Butterfly Wings, you know, that really kind of got me in there. They had that double CD, and I just, you know, Billy Corgan has just such an interesting voice, and I can see why some people wouldn't like it, but I really enjoy it. Like I think it's really cool. I think they've got a really neat sound. They, you know, they go a little bit harder, which, you know, as we kind of get further down my list, you'll see that I kind of enjoy that. But then they just had some really nice songs. Like Tonight is like a fantastic
such
song.
A good song. So good.
So yeah, and like I think that the band has changed around a little bit, but I think they're still making music. I think the keyboardist, the one on the far side, I think he passed away. But the other three were still making music for a long time. And when I was looking for pictures, I saw pictures of Billy Corgan and some other people. So I don't know if they're still kind of a new Smashing Pumpkins or what. But Smashing Pumpkins is just really, really great. Really enjoyed them when I was, you know, in that like early teenage, getting into, you know, mid-teenage ages. Was a really, really big fan of them.
Yeah. Siamese Dream, right up there, one of the greatest albums of all time. I bought that CD around that same time, and I remember coming home to listen to it for the first time. I was so excited to put it on, and there was like these fires going in my hometown where I lived, and it was this weird, like, my parents are just talking about it, and they're nervous, and they're watching the news, and I'm just like listening to the Smashing Pumpkins, and I'm just like, you know, this is great, but like also fires. I don't know. It was just like a weird memory from my childhood. Like, but yeah, Soma. Oh man, Mayonnaise on that album. It was good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah, my band covered a few Smashing Pumpkin songs. They just missed my list.
Did they? Oh man, we could have had a crossover. That would have been amazing if we would have had a crossover. We could have.
Oh, we could have.
Man.
But yeah. All right, so my number 8, is that what we're on?
Yep.
War on Drugs.
There you go.
Brody, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
I am slow on my background transitions today. I apologize. Not to be... It's not Eddie Vedder. This is a different band. So, but it looks like Eddie Vedder. He's got an Eddie Vedder vibe to him. Sorry, Adam, if you're offended by that. But anyway, the War on Drugs is a great band. His voice is like if Bruce Springsteen and Tom Petty somehow had a baby together.
Wow.
And then like that's just like that's what his voice sounds like. Almost like this the band reminds me of everything that I kind of wished that the Wallflowers had been.
Okay.
Like the Wallflowers had that one kind of good album with a couple of memorable tunes and then just kind of disappeared. But more modern than all of that. So it's kind of this weird, like, not weird, but just a really cool like indie rock vibe. The electric guitar work on it, all the instrumentation is just really good. I like long songs. Okay. I like extended musical parts. Not for everyone, for me. And this, the Lost in the Dream album was just so good. I mean, they have 4 right now, 4 albums. They're teasing a new one, so hopefully maybe even sometime this year we'll get a new album dropping. But if you've never heard, and it's a weird band name. All band names are weird when you really think about them. If you don't believe me, if you're at home right now and you've never been in a band, just call a friend and say, okay, look, we're going to start an imaginary pretend band. What should we name it? And just try to bounce band names off of each other. It's a fun exercise. It is a futile exercise. It is really hard to name things. It's
kind of like naming a YouTube channel,
right? Talk Punch. It's
Talk
not a
Punch.
band name either. But Brody, you should check them out if you're a fan of any any of the kind of just like if you can picture that like indie rock sound, a little bit of synth in the background, some electric guitars, acoustic, a little mellow vibe on a lot of things. It's just real good. Just check them out. War on Drugs. Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs.
Stay in school.
Yeah, I'm going to check out all your stuff that I've never heard of before.
Oh, so. Brody, that makes me so happy. I don't believe you, but it makes me happy that you're just saying it.
No, I really am.
All right, okay. I'm a liar, but good.
All right, number 7.
Lucky number 7.
All right, Oingo Boingo.
Oingo, yes.
Now, for a very, very long time, Ongo Boingo was my number one. Like, I own all the albums. I own their farewell show that they did. And all this stemmed from Danny Elfman, who was the lead singer. And so, with obviously I have a love of movie scores, being my first album being Jurassic Park, but having Batman and Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands, and I loved those. And then I found out later on that Danny Elfman was the lead singer of a band, and I was like, I need to check this out. And I already have this love for 80s music, and boy, oh boy, is Ongo Boingo an 80s sounding band. They've got, Danny Elfman just being crazy. They've got brass. They've got strings sometimes. They've just got like a lot of percussion. It's a big band. I think that's probably like half of the band right there. It's all over the place. But Dead Man's Party, Just Another Day is probably like one of my favorite songs of all time. Is Just Another Day, and they're great. They ended in about 1995, so it's been a good 25 years since they've put out anything. And I have since tried to like just put on a whole CD, and I'm kind of like, I don't know, I listen to like some of my favorites, and I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm gonna kind of move on, but there's still, they still have some really good tracks. I still really like them. They have some really weird ones. Their cover of the Beatles Walrus song is a really, really strange one. So.
Shout out to the youngsters, those young people out there that may never have heard of Ongo Boingo or even Danny Elfman, but they've definitely heard some of the things that Danny Elfman's composed for. Come on, shout out a few.
Like movies that he's done?
Anything. Like he did the Simpsons TV show theme song, for instance.
He did. He did the Simpsons TV show. He did the Batman the Animated Series. He was, the famous Batman theme he came up with, one of the most famous themes. He also did the Whedon cut of the Justice League, which was not good. But pretty much any Tim Burton movie that has been done by Danny Elfman. They do it all. He's also the voice. He composed the music for Nightmare Before Christmas and did the singing voice for Jack. So if you've seen that, he's not the talking voice, that was a different actor, but the singing voice, which is amazing. If you like how Jack sounds, go check out Ongo Boingo.
There we go.
There you go.
All right. You went 80s for number 7. I also went 80s-ish and then other decades. I guess technically they started in the 70s and are still playing music today.
Okay.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band The Cure is my number 7. And it, Brody, I tell you, I was a young kid and I found this cassette tape. I used to walk to school back and forth when I was a kid, and I had a Walkman just to put on my ears, like back in the day. And I didn't have a lot of cassette tapes just because it was kind of the medium was kind of going away.
Sure.
But I also didn't have like a portable CD player to play my CDs, so I was digging through my sister's old tapes and I found The Cure Disintegration, and it is one of my all-time favorite albums, which apparently is a theme going here. It was so good. And the song Pictures of You, instant like, oh, this is my favorite song. Love song, just so many good tracks on that particular album. And it got me really exploring this particular band. And they're really like, if you're not familiar with their, they have a huge discography. I'm not going to, try to even explain to you the different manic sounds that are all over the place. Really fascinating, actually. If you ever want an interesting read, it's really interesting. They started out really more as like an anti-establishment band, and then kind of later settled on this more gothic look and really launched like a whole movement with the makeup and the hair and things like that, of kind of like this gothic rock and things like that. But I think Robert Smith has been quoted saying that back in the early days, like their music was so sad and so depressing. Like he would just end shows and just feel drained, like just in tears. Just like just didn't like it, and so then you see like combating that with like pop ballads starting to come out, like Just Like Heaven and things like that, really
Friday
balancing
I'm
the
in
sound
Love.
out of the band. Friday I'm in Love, and just kind of showcasing different parts of his personality in the band. And it creates, like, if you look at the totality of their discography, it's just all over the place. And obviously the look is one of the things that they're most famous for. You kind of see the hair, and you're like, oh, I know what band that is. But beyond like their radio hits, I mean, there's some really interesting deep cuts. I was a kid who enjoyed feeling sad when I was younger. I battled depression and things like that, and it was just so like music that made me feel sad was like something that I really gravitated towards. And so I wore these CDs out. The Cure, I got myself as many Cure CDs as I could, and I just wore them out listening to them at night. It's good stuff. So anyway, but
I considered putting Cure on my list.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, around that, kind of mid '90s time when, I was kind of in the Smashing Pumpkins type of phase, and so having kind of, I used to wear all black and stuff like that. So yeah, I did, enjoy Cure. Being younger, I don't know that I like dove super deep into like their backlog. It was kind of more the current stuff that they were putting out.
Right.
But yeah, it was, and they had some really good stuff in the 80s. It's one of those 80s stuff that I just love. 80s. I love the 80s. So
a lot of weird stuff too, by the way. If you have not listened to a lot of The Cure, there are some bands on here like War on Drugs. Listen to one song and you'll know if you like the band or not. You listen to one song and you'll have an idea of like, okay, I'm in or I'm out. The Cure, you listen to one song, and depending on which one song that is, the next song could completely change your mind about the band. You might go, oh, I love it. And then the next song you put on, be like, what is this? This is terrible. And so it's a little bit more like, it's a little bit more jagged in terms of like the evenness of like style and things like that. So if you do, pick out a few of the hits to start, and then if you want to dabble a little deeper, but just they're not all this. They don't all sound the same, and they certainly aren't all as radio friendly as like some of their hit songs that we've already mentioned. So.
I loved Friday I'm in Love when I was young.
Did you really?
Oh gosh, I loved it. The music.
So cute.
The music video where he's just like singing and jumping, and yeah, I loved it. It was like one of my favorite. One of like my favorite songs in 1990.
That same album had a song called "A Letter to Elise," which was like this kind of like heartbreaking, love song of pain and loss. That was my track, man. Put that on. It was like, all right, this is my jam right here.
There you go. All right, moving right along. Number 6. All right, Linkin Park.
I should be a guessing game here, right? I'm just looking at your dudes, and I'm like, all right, which dudes are these?
It's a bunch of guys. Yeah, Linkin Park.
Guys.
They were another kind of early 2000s discovery. Well, that's kind of when they came out, was early 2000s. During kind of the rap rock, had some of the harder stuff. I was into that. That was, I enjoyed that. Like Limp Bizkit. I was listening to that. But I think unlike like a Limp Bizkit, I think Linkin Park really continued to put out really good stuff, and I really enjoyed their stuff that they put out even years later. And sadly, Chester died, who was one of the two kind of lead singers. But even into the 20 teens and stuff like that, I can put on some of those songs and I just really enjoy them, and they get that kind of meshing of genres itch that I really enjoy, that again we'll kind of touch on as my stuff goes on. And they showed up in like some movies and stuff, like the music would show up in movies and things like that. and it's just, there's still, like, I have my workout playlist, and I've got some Linkin Park songs that come on, and it comes on and I get excited, and I'm like, man, that's a really good song, like, and they came out with remixes that I really enjoy, and so they stuck with me, like, and kind of grew and evolved as a band as I kind of grew up, and there's still somebody that I enjoy revisiting. So,
all right, very well. My number 6 couldn't be more different than your number 6. So my number 6 is a band called The Paper Kites.
I've never heard of that.
And let me tell you, it is folksy, and it is soft toned, and it is just beautiful, beautiful music. There's some cover art over here from their album 12/4, which was a concept album that they wrote all the songs between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m. And you know me, bro. Oh. That's my hours. Almost every song I've ever written has been between the hours of 12 to 4. So when I found this album, it is good. It is a really good album. It is just perfectly textured. The guitar melodies, the vocal melodies, the vocal harmonies, just there's layer after layer, and you can just kind of sit back and let it wash over you. This is, I talked in the beginning about the food analogy. This is an album you sit down and you enjoy it in its total context. There's some great songs on it, don't get me wrong, but there aren't like these standout singles, because everything is just so. It's about the overall totality of the experience. In my opinion, I love the albums. I love putting them on and listening to it. Look, everything they have for the most part is pretty soft. So this is definitely not the band that you want to. Oh, I'm getting psyched up. Go to the gym. Put on the Paper Kites. I don't recommend that. But like when I was younger, I had an iPod. I know, yes. And I had just sad songs that made me feel reflective, and I would put in my headphones and I would just walk. I would just put on my sad songs and I just walk, and I just think and walk and listen to the sad music. Their music isn't sad per se, but it's very reflective. It's like a great it's midnight. Put on some Paper Kites, relax and enjoy a beverage. Kick up your feet and just ponder the greatness of life. It's not like The Cure. It's not like the real depressing stuff. But there's certainly some melancholy in some of the lyrics and some of the arrangements. Really great music. Couldn't recommend them highly enough. Paper Kites.
There you go.
Listen to 12, Brody. If you're gonna listen to 12/4, listen to that album first.
I will. I know what I'm listening to on Spotify tomorrow during work, because I got to listen to your whole list. All right, my number 5. All right, so this is NF. So he is a Christian rapper, and he is.
Does the NF stand for something?
Yeah, his name is Nate Ferguson.
Oh, okay.
So it's just his initials.
Yeah, I can understand if you were going to be a rapper that maybe going by Nate Ferguson was the way to go. The name is Nathaniel Ferguson. Thank you.
But he is really good.
That's my
He is really good at rapping. I would say it's probably similar to like an Eminem type of style, but with him being Christian, he's rapping about his faith, and he raps about like things that he's been through that have been really rough. Like his mom died of an overdose, and some of his stuff gets really dark and it's sad and it's depressing. There's one song where he just at one point just starts crying, like, and you're listening to it and you're like, man, that's really sad. But a lot of his stuff is. I've got a lot of his songs on my workout playlist. If you go and listen to my workout playlist, you'll know what kind of music I like. So, and so he's just phenomenal. He is so fast. He's so smooth. Like, I don't enjoy like a whole lot of rap, but NF, like, I can just put on his albums and I just enjoy it so much. So there is my number 5, NF.
Well, that's someone I have not heard of. So you've returned the favor to me. can check out a little NF.
There you go.
All right. So I will transition to my number 5 by saying that once again we have managed to not line up our genres. So my number 5 is the musical stylings of the incredibly talented and immensely funky Wolfpack. Wolfpack, Brody.
Okay.
They are a throwback band to like the 60s and 70s, like just feel good. This is probably the band I listened to the most at the start of the pandemic last year.
Okay.
Just providing like good energy, good vibes. They've got a great like live concert like Madison Square Gardens on YouTube. They're all just incredibly talented players. I mentioned earlier I'm a bass guy. Joe Dart, the bass player for this band, is phenomenal. Really talented player, but I could say the same thing about literally all of them, and they can all just swap instruments at the drop of a hat. And the band is like, they got these interchangeable parts, these guests that come on stage to play a saxophone or sing a song, and they have it's just an incredible energy to them. This is another band where I would say like the totality of the experience is more, like there's not like an album that I would necessarily recommend or a single that I would recommend over just like experience the band, because you're either you're gonna be into it or you're not. They've got some I think more commercial hits. Usually it's the instrumental stuff that probably would be a little less commercial just because it doesn't have like the vocal hook.
Sure.
It's like some like 1612 or Back Pocket. They have some songs that have like a vocal line on it. Honestly, some of my favorite stuff is off their like EPs. They have some great little EPs you can listen to, but the bass work, whoo, it is good stuff. Check out, and I guess I should. It's a weird band name, right? Wolfpack is a little bit odd, so I should. It's a VULF. Let me just put up a picture. VULFPECK. All right, well,
it's cut off.
What are you gonna do? Just trust me. That's a VULF, Wolf, and then peck like
Woody Woodpecker.
Boom, boom, boom. So good. If you're a fan of like just like that kind of throwback, just feel good vibes, Earth, Wind, Fire, Jackson 5 kind of stuff, but like with like modern just sensibilities, good stuff. Check them out, Wolfpack.
I will look that up. All right.
Oh, I should say this band more than any other band on my list makes me want to play music.
Oh,
a lot of them I like to be a fan. I like to listen. When I hear Wolfpack, I just want to run to my bass and grab it and play. It's just like I gotta play. It's very inspires me like with like a high energy of like I need to play.
Nice.
I miss playing, Brody. I miss playing so bad.
All right, number 4.
I miss it.
So I have For King and Country.
I thought that was Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
No, these guys
Are they British?
No, they're from Australia. They're brothers. So these guys are my Christian pop, and they are, but they put out really not like super poppy. I don't like pop is like probably the best way to describe them, though.
Sure.
I don't know that like. I don't know.
Musical genres don't mean what they used to, bro.
Yeah,
it's
I
fine.
know.
It's all fusion now.
But they're really talented singers. They come from like a musical family. So like Rebecca St. James, they are the younger brothers of her. Their parents were like, I think their dad was like a music producer, in like the 70s and all this stuff. So they come from this musical family. They're really, really good. And they're really great performers as well. They came to Reno and performed, and we took the family to go see them. This is music that if you were to come over to the house, like a lot of times we have their music playing just throughout all the speakers, because we've got like speakers all throughout the house, and so we can just have it play through all speakers, and so we play this a lot. Like the kids really like them and sing along and dance. And so when we went to go see them in concert, like the kids all saw them and they had their favorite songs, and so they sang their songs, and it was an amazing show. Just like the production part of it, and so the performance part of it is really, really great. But then the songs as well, just, can be really meaningful and really touching. And it's stuff that I can put on and I can just listen to and kind of think and just kind of meditate on them. And so I really, really enjoy them. I put them, that's my shirt. It's my shirt for King and Country shirt that I got at the concert. So there you go for King and Country.
Not a mustache guy.
That's not a mustache. No, I need to get one of
for
those.
For King and Country.
I need to get one of those shirts from you, by the way.
One of these shirts? Oh yeah, I got a garage full. If anybody wants to purchase a shirt like this,
there you go.
It's free, bro.
Merch, Talk Punch merch. No Look Escape.
Hey, our 30th lucky subscriber, number 30, will get a free No Look Escape shirt as long as you're within a 5-mile radius of my house and can come pick it up. All right, so my number 4 is another band that you have heard of before. It is the Dave Matthews Band. And this, I remember I was just watching like some VH1 or something back in the 90s, and the song Answer Marching came on. Is it bam? And my eyes got big. I'm like, oh, what is this? This is amazing. And then he comes in. Wake up in the morning, and the tea right and the band is rolling. And it kind of sounds, I don't know, kind of like I'm trying to not do Kermit, but do Kermit.
You gotta get those high inflections. Hey,
wake up in the morning. And I was like, oh. And it's it's a nice 5-minute song. I'm just listening at this. I'm just fascinated by the music. There's so much musicianship in it, and there's so many different instruments. Just the drumming was like nothing I'd heard before. Carl Buford's just like a wizard. He's playing, and we got woodwind, we got violin, we got the fiddle solo. We got Stefan Lassar rocking the bass guitar. And just the way that he was playing that acoustic guitar, I didn't play guitar at the time, but I was like, that's cool. And it became like the basis for like the style of acoustic guitar that I played for like the first third of my musical life on the guitar. It was just like, that's how I wanted to play guitar. And so I learned, Dave's songs, funky closed voicing chords and, percussive strumming and playing and just kind of with that little bit of jazz funk style. I really dug the band, and this really started me like I really enjoy bands. If you kind of go through my list, singers that are kind of more unique sounding, and I certainly warmed up to Dave really quickly as a vocalist, and whether it's Adam Duritz from Counting Crows or Robert Smith and The Cure, just these different singers that have like really kind of unique voices. You hear it and you're like, I know what band that is just from the vocal, the sound of the vocalist. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't need to hear. I didn't need to hear the music. I can just tell by the voice. I like that. I dig that. And partially because I feel like that's kind of how I sing. When I was a vocalist in a band, I don't have a voice for everyone, but I've got like kind of unique sounding voice. So I think probably I gravitated towards people that I felt were kind of like me. And so this band probably represents a good chunk of like the music that I wrote in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Before I started getting more into electric guitar and things like that. So I love the Dave Matthews Band. Great, phenomenal live concert. It's just one of the best concerts I've ever been to, bar none. And we had a friend who was related to someone in the band, so we got to kind of hang out after and have a very brief, uninteresting conversation with a couple of the dudes. It's like, hello, nice to see you. Don't want to bother you. Off you go. All right, nice to meet you. That was me, by the way, not them. They don't have a weird voice. Anyway, yeah. So it's you don't need to tell me to like the Dave Matthews Band, but I know they kind of get a bad rap these days. And certainly, if you're not into the music, those extended long jam sessions are not going to turn you into a fan. But whether War on Drugs, The Cure, this band, I like. Give me the Wolfpack. I like long instrumentals because I play music and I love it. Like, give me some real instruments and some music, and I love it. Love it. All right. What about your number 3, bro?
There you go. Okay, so my number 3. This is where my top 3 you're really gonna see are pretty similar. Okay, so you're gonna see like what I really like and what I kind of listen to.
Everything else up to this point has just been fake, is what you're saying, and now it's the real stuff.
No, everything else I think is what I'm in a certain mood or something like that. But in general,
Sure.
the top three are similar enough that they could be all in like one playlist, which they are all in my workout playlist, by the way. And so
few of my bands could make it into your workout playlist. I'm sorry, bro.
Oh yeah.
Royal Blood can be in your workout
could
playlist.
They? Okay, well we'll see.
They could for sure.
So these guys, this is Skillet. So this is a
okay.
Christian, a bit on the harder side. They have the main singer there with the beard, and then I think it's his wife, who also jumps in with vocals, and she gets like just as loud and kind of yelly as he does sometimes, which is a really neat dynamic to have both of them kind of go in at different times. They've been around for a long time. I think my first exposure to them was probably like 10, 15 years ago, something like that, when it was like, okay, well, if you like this type of band, then check out this Christian alternative to that band, and so I kind of found them that way. And have really just stuck with them, and they're still putting out stuff that's really good. And I think
are they really?
Yeah. And they right now, I think, or maybe it was the last one. If you watched WWE Raw, they're the theme.
Are all the bands on your list featured in Raw.
I wish the theme to the show. So the opening theme was Skillet.
Was it really?
Yeah, and I think actually I think Skillet was the previous theme, and the current theme is NF. So I get all my
there you go.
Yeah, it works out. But Skillet has I think that they have evolved really well. They've done some really neat stuff. They continue to put out stuff. I continue to enjoy the stuff they put out. I really like them. They even recently put out a comic book that I read, and it was fun.
Did not know that they did comic books.
Yeah, he wrote the story and then somebody drew it. So there you go. Skillet is my number 3.
Every time I hear the band Skillet, I just want to go to Denny's. All right, so my number 3 is a band called Jukebox the Ghost. And Brody, let me tell you something. This is a great band. This is a great band. They're a power trio. Now, look, maybe my complaint here is that in the band there is not a bass player, but also, guys, if you need someone, he plays a mean piano. He's a really talented piano player. So he has a very busy left hand, fills it up, and then on recordings they have bass when they need it. They just sub it in.
Sure.
They're all incredible musicians, but if you want a guy full time, here I am, Jukebox. Sign me up. Come on, JB. So. This like pop, sure. The guy, it's a little bit of a Queen vibe at times. It's like pop with complexity, interesting progression changes that you wouldn't expect. Band who plays the piano and sings, has just an incredible voice, and just is a phenomenal piano player. And I think he's been quoted as saying something to the effect of like that they like doing pop music where they're not afraid to showcase their skills. And so like they have like these big, one of the songs on their new album, Off to the Races, I think had like 138 vocal tracks on it.
Oh my gosh.
At one point in time, which is just an amazing amount of like vocal layering. So the recordings are just incredible, but there's also these like stripped down versions you can find of just the piano and vocal, or even just instrumental piano. Gorgeous. But it's fun, it's upbeat. This is a band that has been around a long time. I first discovered them actually I first discovered them. I first became aware of them in like the late 2000s doing piano lessons with kids. I had like this young student who's like, I'd like to learn a song by this band, Jukebox the Ghost. And I'm like, who names these bands these days? What is this weird? And then I listened to it and I'm like, oh, very nice. Then I've been a fan ever since. And they keep putting out records, man. Off to the Races was good. I know there's a single. They have a single out right now, like an EP. I'm excited to see whatever the next album is. I think each album's kind of like a little bit of a reinvention.
Okay.
And it's really like a cool experience all the way through top to bottom. I cannot recommend highly enough. If you like piano music, this is one of those like, or Spotify will recommend like similar artists, but just no one does it like Jukebox the Ghost. So you just stick with the original. Don't settle for any substitutes. It is a piano pop rock at its absolute finest, and just even saying that phrase does not do them justice. So I apologize. Don't think of them as piano pop rock. Think of them as awesome, and just listen to it and enjoy it.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
All right, number 2. Now, my number 2 are so similar, Charlie, that my number 1 band, one of the bandmates, left the band and became a music producer and started producing for my number 1 band, and also is a producer for my number 2. So they are very similar, and really, like, it's so close. Since we came up with this topic, it's been which one's my number 1, which one's not my number 2, and I go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So my number 2 right now, which, you know, it could be, you could ask me in an hour and I might change my mind, is Starset. So I love Starset. They are so good. And they are exactly my type of music. They are on the harder side occasionally. Not like through the whole song, but they do have some songs or certain parts of songs where it will get a bit more hard rock. But then they also have some really nice sounding songs. And then they'll do like, they put out a lot of like alternate versions of their songs. And so you'll have one song that is more on the harder side, but then they'll put out the acoustic version. Or they have one song and then they'll put out like a reimagined version that is the same lyrics, but done completely differently. And it's awesome. And I get so excited whenever they drop a new song on Spotify or YouTube. I get so excited. They have 2 other members besides who's in this picture. They have 2 gals. One of them plays the violin, one of them plays the cello. So you get the hard rock, you get strings. They add a lot of kind of electronic stuff in there. It's really, really neat. Also, they have this fun like gimmick to them where they say they're actually from the future and they are a part of the Starset Society who have come back in time. It's fun. And they stay in character. It's awesome. So I like,
that's interesting.
Even my kids really like them. Like my kids probably more often than not are like, Dad, can you put on Starset? And it's great. And I love it. And I get so excited. They have like almost every single one of their songs, maybe not the acoustic versions, are on my workout playlist. And I love when it comes on. And I get so excited and I love them. And I'll just, this is somebody, I'll just put on, they're a relatively new band. They only have like 3 albums out. I think they're only like 4 years old, maybe. And so they're a relatively newer band, but man, I hope they go for a long time because I really, really, really enjoy them.
Have they been featured on Raw yet, Brody?
I don't think so.
All right, we got to fix that.
I know. Boy, man, if a wrestler came out to a Starset song, oh my gosh, it'd become my favorite wrestler. So there you go. I love
All right,
I
if
love
you're wrestling,
Starset.
you're watching, you heard it.
I love it. They would be my theme song. So check out Starset. They're great.
Starset.
They're great. I love them. I want to listen to them right now.
All right. Well, my number 2 is
I could
the
have
band
put the
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters. I really like the Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters are great. You don't need me telling you guys to listen to Foo Fighters. They're fantastic, and they just consistently put out great music since the late '90s. The album Color and Shape was like the first one I actually bought. I was aware of them before that, but that album, Everlong and My Hero, Monkey Wrench, and a bunch of other tunes was just so good. I've had the privilege of playing Everlong on the acoustic guitar for a friend's wedding. This band has been consistently one that I have been able to utilize for teaching guitar lessons, and is, out of all the bands on my list, the band that my most recent band, No Look Escape, we did the most cover songs of. We did Everlong, we did My Hero, we did a bunch of different Foo Fighters songs just throughout our time playing together, because it was a band just we all enjoyed, and our sound kind of lined up with what their sound was. So it's very, very very great band. They're not my number one because I don't find myself listening to them as much these days as I have in the past, as my tastes continue to evolve. It's a tough list because really, like, every 5 to 10 years, my list could be totally different.
Sure.
If it was just based
Absolutely.
on like the last. So I try to really balance, what bands have meant to me, what the music has meant to me, with like what I'm actually listening to now. And so you kind of get that vibe, I'm sure, as you're kind of, if you look at my list. So this is my number 2, and they're just titans in the industry. They're fantastic. And Kurt Cobain didn't kill himself. He was murdered. On to number 1.
All right, number 1. So my number 1 is Red. I
knew it. I knew it was Red.
Did you?
I knew it. I knew it, bro. I did.
I'm not surprised that you knew. I have loved Red since their first album in like 2006 or so.
Do they have how many albums do they put out now? Is it more than 2?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They're probably at like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 or 7 maybe. They've put out a lot, and they've put out like some anniversaries. They put out like a 10-year anniversary of their first one, where they've added some more tracks and we did some stuff.
Sure.
But they beat out Starset because I have liked them for as long as I have. Since they came out like 15 years ago, it's every album I'm like right there, and I'm like, okay, give me more Red. I still, I was just listening to Red today because I was thinking about all these albums and putting together this list, and I'm like, oh man, I want to listen to some Red, and they're so good. They are a Christian hard rock. That gives them the little edge over Starset as well, because they've got the Christian part, and like they're so good. Their latest album they did independently, and it was a bit harder than what their previous stuff had been, and it was actually, some of the songs were a bit harder than I even like, and so I do find myself going to the second to last album more often. This album in particular, Gone, was just so good. But I love them. I love them. I would love to see them in concert. They're just fantastic. They haven't put out an album since like I want to say it was early last year.
Are they still together?
Oh yeah. They're still doing stuff. Okay. It's been this trio, so it's the main guy who's the singer, and then twins who are the bass and guitar, and then they've kind of cycled through drummers. But they recently got like a full-time drummer, and so now they're gonna have kind of a quadrant there. But they're so, I really enjoy them. I really like them. They've put out some really good songs. Some of my favorite songs of all time have come from Red. I am super excited for more. I just want more. Just give me more Red. Just put out more songs. Even if it's like one song here or there, just drop a little nugget on Spotify, and I'm happy. Like, I love them. I love them. They're my favorite. They've been my favorite for a long time. I'm super happy that they're still making music, and I can't wait for them to make more music because I love them.
There we go.
My favorite band right there, Red.
Red. All right.
Also, they're hard to search for sometimes because their name is Red. Do you know how you can't just put Red into the search engine? You got to do Red Band, And then you get stuff like red band trailers, and you get all this other red band stuff, and so they are a little hard to search for sometimes. But they're worth it.
Earlier in this podcast, I did challenge you at home to think of a band name with your friends. I would like you to take that into consideration because it is a real thing. That if you name yourself, like the band Live is a very hard band to search for on YouTube. If you just type in Live, you're not going to find the band right away. You got to know songs, you got to know tracks. Same thing with the Google search or whatever search engine you choose. You got to think through these decisions, people. Also, you may think a band name is funny, like the Goo Goo Dolls thought their band name was funny, but it was just a joke. But then they got popular and they couldn't change it, and they were forever stuck as the Goo Goo Dolls. So let it be a lesson to you at home as you think of this band name, and I want to see them below. Go ahead and comment your band name that you come up with. It's harder than you think. Harder than you think.
It is.
All right.
All right, Charlie.
Speaking of band names, that
your
are
number
weird,
one.
My number one is
I've heard of them.
For Cutie, and hey, what first of all, awesome that you have. This is a fantastic band that I have just fallen more in love with over the years, and they started making music I think late '90s, and then I think their big breakout hits were like mid 2000s. Like they came out with the album Plans, had like I Will Follow You Into the Dark and some other kind of like more radio play songs. And I remember kind of teaching guitar lessons. That was a big one for guitar lessons because it's acoustic and it was a big hit. And the first line is like, "Love of mine, someday you will die." And I just always thought it was so funny as like a love song, the first lyric of a love song. But it's actually like the lyrics that are throughout Death Cab's albums are actually really, really kind of clever and witty, and the music, like especially on their last two CDs, it's stuff that I write. Like it is very much in the wheelhouse of like the music that I've evolved into creating on my own. I really have been inspired by this band. It is. I could list off like they're a big band. This is not like some shocking number one where I now need to explain to you all the reasons you should go check out this band that's been forever. He was married to Zooey Deschanel. I don't know if that adds any
know that.
love into this or not. There was a really fun diversion of a side project in the 2000s with the Postal Service. Like one album, you may have heard the song "Such Heights." Great song, great song, and so that's all connected. So look, it's if you are a fan of like The Cure, but you want something that's a little bit more like the best parts of like Pictures of You and things like that, with a more modern presentation. It's a terrible description. This is the band. Indie rock, all the guitar layering is just beautiful. And I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with them next. I think Ben Gibbard is just, I think he's just fantastic. And I just can't wait. I will listen to whatever he puts out. And I like his solo stuff. I like the Postal Service. I like the Death Cab stuff. And I just cannot get enough. It's my number one. This album right here, that's the stuff right there. That is the stuff. If you want, I should put it up and just make you read it. But it's like the transatlanticism. You want to try that one? No. You don't. Right. But there are some like builds in this long instrumental sections, builds, little piano layered with guitar and stuff. It's fantastic. So if for some reason you've been maybe just not exposed to this particular band, especially if maybe you're younger and you just haven't gotten a chance to hear some of this old man music, they're still around, they're still making music. I would obviously my number one. I highly recommend them if you've been aware of them, but only with a cursory knowledge of like one or two songs. Check them out. Maybe you didn't like "I Will Follow You in the Dark" because it had a song. The first line of the song is about someone dying. That's fine. That is not even in my top 15 or 20 favorite songs by them, not even close. So I think they have much better cuts all throughout their albums, and I've worn out their last two albums just listening to them over the last year and a half. So yeah, love it, Brody.
Oh, there you go.
Death Cab.
So how many of mine did you guess, Charlie? You probably knew two, right?
as we were getting closer, I knew Oingo, and as we were getting closer, I was like, I bet it's going to be Red. Bet it's going to be Red. So that was about it. I did. You know what? I feel like I should have known Skillet was on there. I feel like I should have known that. I didn't know Saliva was going to make the list. I might have guessed Puddle of Mud.
I didn't know Saliva was going to make the list either until I was building the list, and I'm like, I need a number 10.
That's awesome. You used to really like Alien Ant Farm. I thought maybe they would make an appearance.
I don't think they're making music anymore. I'll still turn on like one of their albums. I don't remember which one, but yeah, they had some good ones. They had some good ones.
Yeah.
So I should look that up. I wonder if they're still making music. But
so some bands, just throwing some other things out. If you want some other things to listen to, I've been digging this band New Respects. They only have one album out so far, but I'm into it. And I've been listening to a band called Coin. This is another band where it's a terrible band name, because if you try to search for Coin, and Coin Band is also a different thing. So it's Coin the Band. Anyway, been digging them. Nova Twins. I've been getting into some different music. I could sit here and I could just list off things that I've been listening to. But if you want recommendations, hit us up. Let us know below. If you're just say, hey, I like this band, tell me some other bands I might like, and we will absolutely fire you off some suggestions. Let us know what you like to listen to. My workout list, by the way, Brody, if I was listening to music, would be very different than the things that I've put on my list for the most part. But I don't like to. Yeah. Anyway, all things. Remember, it's my tying it all back in.
There you go.
There's certain foods that I love to eat, certain restaurants that I love to eat at. But when I need to eat something late at night, it's got to be Denny's if I'm going to a restaurant, because it's the only thing open. Sure. And so if I'm going to exercise, I listen to whatever I can that has that kind of. I'm funneled into a certain arena of music. But I've gotten more to podcasts while exercising, or even television shows. I don't know about you, but
go find my workout playlist on Spotify. I think it's public. You can listen to it. It's okay.
Yeah,
I give you permission.
So this is why back in the day when I was working out listening to music. This is from my House of Blues show. Man, I miss those days.
There you go.
That was a good show, Brody. You should have been there. You should have been there when we played the House of Blues.
I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, I live in Reno. I'm not going to fly out to hear your big concert.
I'm sorry.
Unbelievable.
I should have been there with my mustache.
You should have been there with your mustache. I would have brought you on stage for sure. You would have had to dance around with your mustache.
I'm pretty sure I was in school at the time. It's harder to.
Oh, I'm a man of many excuses.
Yeah, I am. Many excuses. All right, Charlie.
All right. Well, if you're interested, below me is a selection of other videos of ours. Feel free to click and explore the rest of the Talk Punch channel. Maybe you'll find some other videos that you also enjoy about some other subjects that you're interested in. Below Brody, of course, is the like and subscribe buttons. Please hit those for us. It means a lot to us, and we love sharing this time with you. Thank you for watching and tuning in. And Brody, play them out. Sing the song on the way out.
I don't know. I can't do it.
Please don't go. Please don't go.
Please don't go. Please don't go. Bye.